I'm Luke Summerhays, and I love Farigiraf. More than 3 years ago, back in June of 2020, I talked on this podcast about Girafarig. A psychic and normal type giraffe Pokemon with a little head on its tail and a palindrome for a name, Girafarig was always cool, but also felt like it didn't quite make the most of that idea's potential. Giraffes are famous for their long necks, but in Girafarig's case, it's not really much longer than a horse or a deer's. That second head is quite small and underdeveloped, not quite in the territory of a multi-headed hydra, nor a two-part creature like CatDog. Girafarig had a bit of a competitive niche thanks to its ability to abuse Baton Pass, but its mediocre stats meant it was never top tier. In Generation 9, a lot of those problems are addressed by the introduction of Farigiraf. Yes, that name is giraffe palindromed in the other direction. Very clever, more so than the Japanese name Rikikirin. The Japanese language is made of phonetic sounds like ki and re. There is an sound, but it can't be used at the start of a word, meaning this name can't be a full palindrome. Farigiraf is still a normal and psychic type, which is slightly disappointing. I was hoping for maybe a psychic and dark, or at least for the two types to be flipped. The smaller tail head has grown and fused with the main head, engulfing it and forming a kind of hood or onesie around the primary face. In the process, the neck has grown to actual giraffe proportions, solving what was honestly my biggest issue with Girafarig. Pokemon Violet says of Farigiraf, "The hardened head from the tail protects the head of the main body, as Farigiraf whips its long neck around to headbutt enemies." Real-life giraffes do indeed swing their heads around to fight one another, and I wholeheartedly recommend looking videos up on YouTube. It is hilarious. Girafarig evolves into Farigiraf if it levels up while knowing the move Twin Beam, a new signature move for this family. It's a decent little multi-hit psychic move, but this alone is not what raises Farigiraf's profile. The Pokemon stats have had a big boost in the evolution process, barring a drop in speed. That doesn't matter much though, as Farigiraf has been used effectively on teams that use the move Trick Room, reversing the order of Pokemon speeds. In this context, Farigiraf has already found itself on top-cut teams and competitions. Pokemon Scarlet tells us, "Now that the brain waves from the head and tail are synced up, the psychic power of this Pokemon is 10 times stronger than Girafarig's." Farigiraf was announced before the release of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and it fired up fans' imaginations. If Girafarig is getting a new evolution, how about other long-forgotten Generation 2 Pokemon? More on that next week. Music for Luke Loves Pokemon is composed by Jonathan Cromie. Artwork for the show is by Katie Groves. Writing, producing, and editing is by me, Luke Summerhays, while funding is provided by lovely listeners at patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius. Our next Pokemon will be Dunsparce, and then we're getting into the Paradox Pokemon. So if you have thoughts about those or any other monsters, hit me up with a DM or an email to lukelovespkmn@gmail.com. If you like this podcast, please rate and review wherever you're listening, or tell a friend. If you want to hear more Pokemon chatter from me, come by twitch.tv/lukelovespkmn, most Saturday nights from 9 PM UK time. Even if you don't feel like doing any of that, thank you so much just for listening. I love Farigiraf, and remember, I love you too.